Hello, mate.
Hello, everybody.
We're back.
We are.
Motherfuckers.
We are back.
It has been a while.
It has been a while. It's been months, I want to say.
Quite a few months.
A few months.
Yeah, and we really want to apologise for just disappearing.
Yeah. What it started is that... Was it you that was sick first?
I was sick first because I'm always fucking sick in winter. And then when I got better...
I got sick.
And then when you got better...
You got sick again.
I got sick again. And it just kind of snowballed. And then before we knew it, it was Christmas.
Yeah.
And then it was New Year's.
Yeah.
And then it was second Christmas with your family. And it just all kind of got away from us.
It did a little bit. So we are very sorry, but we are back.
And then we had like a load of other stuff going on at the same time.
Yeah, it was very, very crazy and very busy. And
yeah. And normally we would have said something, but we were always under the impression that it would be next week.
Yeah.
It would be next week.
Yeah. And next week never came.
Never came.
Literally never came.
So that is our excuse.
And we are sticking with it.
Yeah. So it has been a while.
It has been a while.
Merry Christmas.
Happy New Year.
I hope you had a good one.
Yeah. Yeah. That's how long it's been.
Yeah. I suppose I just want to get out a few things before we actually, get into the bants and
into the top bants.
We are closing our Patreon.
We are. We don't feel that it's right to be accepting money as we've been away for so long.
Yeah, and we've not been delivering content, so we don't feel like we deserve any kind of monetary contribution or anything like that. Yeah. It's not fair on you guys, and we feel like shit for it. So, we'll put up like a little notice for anyone who has forgotten about us.
Yeah.
We're closing the Patreon
until further notice.
Until further notice, and when we get kind of back on our feet, because a lot of stuff has changed since we last recorded.
Yeah, it has.
I'm doing a lot more.
You are, yeah. I'm doing a fair bit as well. With my actual job, I have to do a lot, so...
And I'm kind of doing 2 jobs, pretty much. I am working for myself, kind of.
Because you are a lady?
I am a 25-year-old lady, and I need to work for myself, so I'm doing kind of freelance stuff on the side, graphic design and photography and stuff. So if you all want anything photographed or designed graphically...
The graphical designing.
Yes, hit me up. And that's it. And then I still have my full-time job on top of that.
Yeah, so we have got a lot. And that was another problem with the Patreon, is that it kind of made us feel like...
It's not that it took the kind of enjoyment out of it, but we felt immense pressure.
Yeah, there was a lot of pressure.
It's nothing to do with you guys, of course. It was more the pressure we put on ourselves.
Yeah, it was our own fault, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, we tried doing too much, and like I work all kinds of crazy hours now, and you're working a lot as well with both your businesses. So it's not really feasible for us to do that much now.
No, not at the moment. Well, everything is kind of still up in the air. When everything settles down a bit and kind of calms down. But with that being said, we're totally into wedding planning at the moment.
Yeah. So
because we get married in 9 months.
Balls deep in wedding planning.
9 months we get married.
9 months.
We booked our honeymoon.
Yes.
We are going to Vegas.
Whoop whoop.
Then to LA.
Whoop whoop.
Then to somewhere else in California.
Whoop whoop.
Then to Yosemite.
Whoop whoop.
And then to San Francisco.
Whoop whoop.
So, yeah. That is what we are doing. And it should be fun.
It would be very, very fun. Road trip, bitch.
Yeah. So, that is what we've been doing.
This is our life now.
Yeah.
Basically, this is our life now.
So, but it was nothing to do with you guys. We still very much wanted to do this podcast.
Yeah, it was unfortunately the thing that got kind of sacrificed on top of everything else, is that we were... I mean, there's still weeks now where I'm out all night, you're out all day.
Yeah.
And we have like 3 hours together.
Yeah. Before
one of us has to leave. So.
And recording this podcast takes 2 hours.
It does. We've tried recording it before I go out on the night shift before. It's troublesome at best.
Like we tried to record this episode before a couple of times.
Yeah.
But it's been when you've been on nights and I've been working regular, because I finish at 6.
Yeah.
You go to work at like 8:30, 9.
Yep.
So it just didn't work.
No, it was rushed, and that was the problem. It was too rushed. You could tell that it was rushed.
Yeah. But we have a solid schedule. I have a 2019 diary now.
You should see it. It's a thing. It's a hell of a thing.
Everything goes in that diary, and I feel a lot more fucking organised. And yeah.
And you got new glasses to make you look even more organised.
Yeah, beach.
So she looks like she's a Hogwarts student.
Slytherin.
Yeah, all right then. Hufflepuff.
Excuse me?
You heard.
I'm not a Hufflepuff.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a Hufflepuff.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you've just made this awkward now.
Anyway.
So. Has anything else been going on for us?
No, I don't think so.
No, it's just a lot of boring stuff.
Yeah, it's like adult things.
Things, yeah. So yeah, that's kind of where we've been. That's where we're at.
Yeah.
So yeah, by the time you hear this, Patreon will be closed.
Yep.
And we're going to be back on social media. We're going to be back on everything else.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm super excited.
Yeah, it's really exciting. So thank you for bearing with us and
sticking with
it.
Yeah, no, we're super excited.
We're back.
We're back, bitches. So shall we actually get started into no, that actually happened?
Yeah, go on then.
Do you want to go first or will I go first?
I will go first.
Stop creaking your chair.
I am trying. So, Laura, how do you feel about the song Africa by Toto?
You can answer that and you know it. I think it is a work of art.
Well, funny you should mention that. There is an artist.
I didn't mention it.
You know what? I'm rolling with it.
Okay.
Funny you should mention that, because there is an artist. His name is Max Seidenhoff, I hope. Seidenhoff? Topf. A Nambian German artist, anyway. And he decided that the pinnacle of artistic expression was to get an MP3 player, 6 speakers, and a solar panel, and rig them up in the Nambian desert to play Namibian. To play... to play Africa by Toto on repeat for the rest of eternity.
That guy deserves some award.
If it's in the middle of the desert, just constantly
what desert?
I'm not saying. I've already said once, we don't need to do it again. So it's like an expressive artwork of, I don't know.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
And it all started... playing that song on loop has been a thing for a while, because there was a nightclub in Bristol who did it for a challenge. They played it for 12 hours on repeat constantly.
Oh, I could get behind that.
And then there was a Burger King in Camden who said that they play it on repeat all through the hours of business as well for charity. Playing that song on repeat is becoming a thing.
I'm very happy with this.
We were on our respective work nights out, and as soon as it came on at about 2:00 in the morning in this random bar in Cork City where I was just like, babe, I bless the rains of Africa. That's probably how it said, because I texted it and it wasn't really making much sense because everything was spinning.
Why was that?
Shots, mainly.
Shots. Yeah.
So that's my know that actually happened. It's they're playing that song on repeat in the middle of a desert.
Fantastic.
Yep. I just thought you'd all need to hear that.
I think that's amazing.
Yep.
I kind of want to go to the Namibian desert.
You do yours now. You do yours.
Mine's kind of a weird one, okay? The headline reads, Russian religious leader warns of satanic smartphones.
I mean, he's going right in there, isn't he?
Yeah. No, he's definitely putting himself out there.
Yeah. Wow, that is a fantastic hat.
I really want that hat.
We just... You've got the page up, and this guy has a fantastic hat.
I'm pretty sure there's an actual name for that.
There probably is, but right now it's a fantastic hat.
It's a hat.
Yeah, it's amazing.
A powerful religious leader in Russia is warning residents that the society's increasing reliance on smartphones and similar technology could usher in the arrival of the Antichrist. Now, that's a bit out there.
It's a little bit. I mean, you're not going to send 3 selfies on Snapchat and all of a sudden get possessed by the devil.
No, but what he is saying is actually... The way he's saying it is very out there and very extreme, but the message behind it I can agree with.
Do tell.
So basically, he's saying, his quote is, "Every time you use your gadget," he chillingly observed, "somebody can find out exactly where you are, exactly what your interests are, and exactly what you're scared of. The Antichrist is the person who will be at the head of the World Wide Web, controlling all of humankind."
Dun dun dun.
Now, obviously he's being a bit fucking dramatic, but...
I mean, with a hat like that, you're allowed to be a little bit over-dramatic, I think.
Yeah, but I mean, like, think of how much data you willingly give to the internet a day.
Yeah, that's very true. Like, there's been a couple of big sort of data protection scandals recently, haven't there, where people's data has just been bought and sold, and
that's just what we know about.
Yeah, of course. There's probably files upon files upon files of data that we just don't know about. I'm looking at you, the NSA. So,
but then, like, there's, like, obviously there's all these conspiracy theorists and stuff that say all of this data that you give to the internet, anyone can fucking use.
Yeah, it can be used for any reason, I suppose.
You know, you're a demographic. They can use your data and find out everything they need to know about you.
Yeah, and then apply it in probably nefarious ways.
Even Messenger or WhatsApp or something. Think of how much data you send through there.
True, but I mean, WhatsApp is a weird one because that's supposed to be encrypted, isn't it? That's supposed to be encrypted so nobody, not even WhatsApp, can see it.
But how do we know that?
We don't, but I remember being a follower of British news, as we are British, that there was a big scandal after the last few sort of terrorist attacks that the government couldn't access WhatsApp messages because they were encrypted on both ends.
But there has to be someone who can see that. I don't believe it's fully encrypted.
You don't believe it, but the problem they were kicking off is that they literally couldn't see inside people's messages, and they're calling it a security risk, and they were trying to get WhatsApp to put a backdoor in so that they could see, and WhatsApp were like, no, we can't do it. We can't even see what they're saying. It's a fully 100% encrypted service.
I don't believe that.
Whether you believe it or not is a different thing entirely, but there you go.
But then, back to my original point, like, imagine the damage that someone can do with all of that information.
Yeah, it's a crazy amount of damage, and you don't really... It's strange, isn't it, when you sign up for something, like, we sign up for things all the time, don't we? And it's like name, date of birth, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, contacts, camera.
Yeah, the cameras, like, both our laptops have cameras built into them.
The phones have cameras built into them.
Phones have cameras built into them. Phones listen, your phone especially.
My phone does something fucking... Right, okay. I have this Google Voice thing. Didn't do it then, actually.
It didn't, no, probably because it's not connected to the internet.
It is connected to the
Is
internet,
it?
Yeah.
Ah.
I never turned it on airplane mode.
We are professionals.
But, like, my phone, I have the Google Voice activation on. It can be anything.
Yeah, you'll just be sat around, we won't even be talking and it'll light up.
It'll light up and it'll be like, can't recognise your voice. And I'm like, bitch, you're fucking listening.
Yeah.
Like, I don't like, I should really turn it off, but...
You probably should do, yeah.
But it makes me, I don't know.
But you like going, okay, Google.
Yeah, I feel like a peasant from the future. Like,
it just lit up then. Look, it just lit up then.
Yeah.
That's weird, isn't it? And don't even get me started on that Alexia stuff.
I really want an Alexa.
No, we're not having one.
I really want an Alexa.
No. You can have one as long as it's not connected to the internet.
Oh yeah, I'm going to connect it to you.
You're not.
Yeah.
But I am never speaking.
Hey, that's all I had to do. Yeah. So that was my that actually happened. Quite out there, but I can agree.
It's out there.
I can agree with the underlying
It
issue.
is out there, but like you say, it's very thought-provoking as well, isn't it? That someone somewhere is seeing all the stuff that we're putting online.
Yeah, definitely.
And in today's society, you can't really get away with not being online to some degree.
Yeah.
You need to be online for some things. Like, I know in this country, we have to be online to do our taxes and things, don't we?
Yeah.
The revenue has to be done online. You can't do it any other way.
Mm-hmm.
And things like
that.
And
all your fucking tax and everything data is on there.
Yeah.
And the Irish are not one for being overly thorough when it comes to
anything.
Security, pretty much. So you could probably hack into there very easily.
Yeah. But we're not saying you should, though, because,
no.
You know, I pay enough tax already. I don't need anybody messing with that.
Yeah, no, please. We pay enough.
So, I mean, it's a very thought-provoking and a very sort of... It's kind of Black Mirror-esque, isn't it, really?
Not really, because...
It's real.
Yeah, no, pretty much.
It's more that Black Mirror is becoming real, and we can probably talk a lot more about that, especially when you look at what China do as well. Their citizens have like a full-on social scoring system where if they're not liked by the government, they can't do shit.
Yeah.
And then we probably will, now I've mentioned it, do something about that.
Yeah, we're going to make a full-on list to keep us motivated.
We are, because it's a very, very sort of scary and thought-provoking topic.
Yeah. So, that's it. Okay, so this is episode 24.
It is episode 24. We should probably call this season 3, though.
No, we're not breaking this into seasons.
We're not doing that, okay. No.
Episode 24. We should really be at, like, episode 52 or
we
something
probably
like
should
that.
be, but, you know, we're sorry. We suck.
Yeah,
Please
we
forgive
suck.
us.
Hopefully this one will make up for it, though, because it's kind of an homage to our second episode.
Yeah,
It's really cool.
It ties right back in there.
Yeah, and... This one was actually requested by one of our friends.
Yeah.
Who listens to the podcast.
We hope still listens to the podcast.
We hope so. Friend of Moz. this one's for you.
And that's a cable. And this is The Wild Hunt.
Will you stop shaking your fucking chair?
I'm shaking my bootay.
You're not.
You can't handle this. Anyway, this episode is The Wild Hunt.
Yeah. So, what is the Wild Hunt?
The Wild Hunt is historically it's a ghostly apparition of hunters or mounted men on horseback that's usually seen like passing through somewhere, passing over somewhere, like generally.
You kind of got the idea into your head that it was passing over.
I'm sure I've seen or read that somewhere before that they go overhead.
We can't find it.
We can't go overhead, so we can't go overhead. We can't find it, so it's.
You think
I think it's passing overhead, but you think I'm talking crap. So.
No, I don't think you're talking crap. I think you might be getting mixed up with something else, like the Valkyries or something.
I think I'm getting it mixed up with Ghost Rider. To be perfectly honest, I think I'm getting it mixed up with Ghost Rider. But there you go. These spectral sort of riders, hunters, whatever you want to call them, beings, entities. They're said to be either elves or fairies or the usual good old staple, dead people.
Dead people.
Dead people.
Like zombies?
Not zombies.
Like ghosts?
Probably more like ghosts.
Oh, imagine all four. Like zombies, ghosts, fairies and elves. Like, all in one wild hunt.
That's like a hell of a party, isn't it? I mean, I'm not really sure we're ready for that kind of thing.
I think that would be fucking cool.
I think it'd be fucking scary is what I think.
Oh, yeah. But, like, if you just have a day where, like, you're just like, I don't give a fuck. It would be kind of cool.
Come at me, bro.
Yeah. If you're just having one of those days where you just don't really care.
Every day.
Yeah.
Every day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Their presence is usually, of course, these things are. They're usually seen as like a bad omen. So
yeah,
it's a catastrophe. It's plague. It's war. It's someone burning all your tax refunds. So it's something. It's some kind of catastrophe like that. It's bad news.
I think I'd take one more than I'd take the others. To be fair, I don't really want my tax returns burned.
No,
that would suck.
That would suck. But I mean, at best, it seems that the person who sees a wild hunt is going to die.
So really, you're fucked either way.
It's just not something you want to be seeing, is it?
Either you die or everyone else dies, so someone's fucking dying. Like,
maybe if you get a choice. Imagine catching you on the bad day and you get a choice like that. And you're just like, you know what? Fuck everyone else, right? I'm staying alive. Y'all can die.
I'd do that anyway.
Yeah, I know you would.
Fuck them.
So you have to imagine you're going through a ramble through the forest, if you will, in the middle of the night, and the moon's shining, and there's sort of, I don't know, birds and shit. I don't really know what happens.
Birds and shit? Like squirrels and shit?
Yeah, squirrels and shit. A few owls just hooting around. And all of a sudden you hear the thunder of approaching hooves and the whooping and hollering of hooves, whooping and hollering of people mounted on horseback. And then you turn around and there's just these spectral hunters either coming charging at you or charging overhead or something like that.
We're not in Ghost Rider now.
Fine, charging at you. That'd be pretty fucking scary, like.
Yeah.
I'm not about that kind of life, really.
No, fuck that. Fuck that.
That's why we never leave the house.
No, I don't like leaving the house. Now, you're probably kind of wondering where this all kind of comes from. We kind of think it's European folklore, mostly like Germanic and Scandinavian and those kind of areas.
It's got all the hallmarks of something that comes out of that kind of area.
Yeah.
It's quite dark and ominous and...
Yeah, and the British have their own kind of explanations for it.
Yeah.
And we'll get to that a bit later.
We will
do. Most places in Europe kind of have some form of wild hunt.
Yes, they do.
So we think it first originated in Norse mythology.
Mm.
In the Dictionary of Northern Mythology by Rudolf Simek, he states that back in the Germanic times of the Vikings, it was called Oskorea, which means terrifying ride.
I mean, that kind of makes sense, to be fair.
Odin's Jagd, which is Odin's hunt.
Equally terrifying, really.
Kind of, but I think more Odin's Jagd would be like Valkyries.
Yeah, that's kind of the more benevolent version, isn't it?
Going to Valhalla and stuff like that. But in the Norse beliefs, the wild hunt would show up in times of the change of seasons. So like the end of winter, or the start of winter. It's usually mostly winter.
And that kind of makes sense because the season changing for people who were so reliant on the seasons, like farmers and people like that in early sort of history.
Yeah.
The changes would be terrifying.
Yeah.
Like, you'd be panicking about... I mean, it doesn't matter to us now, does it? You think, winter's coming.
Oh, April 14th.
Winter's coming. Put my best northern voice on for that. Winter's coming. So, the change to winter, to spring, to summer, it could really cause havoc with them, with their crops and stuff. So, the seasonal changes and things could be quite a big disaster if you weren't ready for them.
Oh, yeah.
So, I can understand that, to be honest.
No, definitely. And especially in winter, there's not much to do.
For the night is dark and full of terrors.
Yes.
Unexpected Game of Thrones.
Yes. So, mostly they'll be drinking.
Yeah?
Drinking and eating.
Yeah.
So if you were unlucky enough to kind of be caught outside in the middle of winter or the start of winter or the end of winter, that kind of time, you might see this ghostly procession.
I'd rather not, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I don't think I would want to either. It's said that if they saw you, you would be picked up and carried miles away and then dropped.
That's not very nice.
No.
No, I mean, if you're lucky enough to survive the fall, you've got no fucking idea where you are.
Yeah, you could be fucking... go from Norway to Finland or something. Like, that's a long way. You can't really walk that.
It's more than a bus drive anyway.
Yeah, no. Fuck that.
Yeah.
And they didn't have Uber back then. Some practitioners of witchcraft, they'd voluntarily join the wild hunt through the form of astral projection.
Okay.
Which is kind of awesome.
That's kind of cool. Like, the messy becomes the messer. Don't tilt your head at me like that. That made perfect sense.
No.
Anyway.
So the wild hunt is kind of said to be... They can be annoying bastards as well. So they basically come into towns and fuck shit up. Eat all your food, drink all your mead, and then leave.
I was sure that the wild hunt in this case isn't just, like, a gang of roving idiots.
Yeah, no, it's entirely possible it could be. And then people get too drunk and they wander off and then they're like, oh, I was dropped here.
That sounds more like a gang of idiots. A gang of very drunk idiots.
It's like, no, Björn, you're drunk. Go away.
Sit down, you're drunk.
So that kind of covers the procession, but then who leads it? It varies greatly, to be quite fucking honest with you.
As these things often do.
But the majority of counts do obviously lead towards Odin being the leader of the Wild Hunt. Yeah. I mean, you know, he's got his 8-legged steed.
I'm still trying to figure out how 8 legs on a horse would work, but okay, I'll roll with it.
Out of all this, an 8-legged horse is the one you're struggling with?
Well, I mean, you know how horses walk? You know how anything with 4 legs walk? Then how does another 4 legs fit into that? Like, do they go in front of the other legs? Are they attached somehow to the other legs? Like,
well, this horse flies, so I don't think he uses his legs that much.
See, I can. It's just I want to know the walking mechanic of an 8-legged horse.
Probably like an arachnid.
Yeah, but so it's like its legs come out of its sides now. Is that how it works?
No, it comes out the bottom.
Well, then how does it walk?
Like an arachnid.
Arachnid's legs come out the sides.
They still manage to walk though.
Yeah, but the positioning is important.
No.
I am an engineer, I'm a mechanical engineer, and I demand to know how this works.
Maybe he doesn't fly, maybe he doesn't walk, maybe he flies.
That's fine, that is okay.
Fine, he flies.
That's fine.
Anyway, I'll get back to my part of the script.
Bastard.
It is also said that the Valkyries sometimes lead the procession and, you know, they go bring the bros back to Valhalla.
The bros. Pretty sure they weren't called the bros.
The bros.
The bros. So the British have several variations of this particular folklore. One being from the Windsor Forest in Berkshire.
Isn't that like where the Queenie is from?
No.
Well,
you're thinking of Windsor Castle.
Yeah.
That's in London.
Where's Berkshire then?
Oh, south somewhere, I don't know.
You know what I'm going to do?
Really? We're doing this now?
Yeah.
Really?
Okay, Google.
Oh, God.
Where's Berkshire? In London, bitch.
Is it?
Yeah.
Alright, it's south, it doesn't fucking matter. This dates back to the time of Richard II, which is around the end of the 14th century to the start of the 15th century. There you go. The legend says that there was a fella called Herne, and he was a huntsman employed by Richard II. And one day while they were out, you know, hunting, doing their thing.
Like Robert Baratheon.
Like, we have watched far too much Game of Thrones. It has ruined us. Yeah, they're out hunting, doing things that kings and hunters do. Hunting.
Like Robert Baratheon.
Like Robert Baratheon, yes, thank you. And the legend goes that Herne saved Richard II from a charging stag by kind of doing the...
Like Robert Baratheon!
Unexpected Game of Thrones again. So the stag charged at Richard II. Herne probably knocked the king out of the way.
Ned Stark knocked Robert Baratheon out of the way.
Woman. And then got gored by the stag handlers. So he was in a pretty bad way. Then a stranger approached him and said to Herne, "I can save your life." So Herne was basically, to this stranger, who he had no idea of his medical training or anything...
Littlefinger.
Will you stop? He had no idea of his medical training or anything, and he goes, "Alright then." I mean...
Well, he's going to die anyway. I kind of see his...
Yeah, he's laying there bleeding out, and this fella comes up, "Yeah, I can fix that." And he goes, "You do that."
He's got nothing to lose, really. He's going to die anyway.
You crack on. So, the stranger then tied the antlers of the dead stag to Herne's head, and this miraculously cured him.
Or did it?
However, then the stranger demanded payment for his services, and the only way he took this was he would claim all of Herne's hunting skills and experience and everything. He just took what made him a bloody good hunter and took it for himself.
Like in Harry Potter. Okay.
Oh, we're going for Harry Potter now rather than Game of Thrones?
You know, in the... What was it? The pool of... Whatever you call it. Where all the memories go.
Oh, yeah.
And Dumbledore kind of pulls the memory out of his head with his wand.
Yeah.
Kind of like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, thank you for that visualization.
Well, that's how I imagine it being.
Yeah, so. I can get behind that.
Yeah.
This, however, was a bit of a double-edged sword because this then drove Hearn mad, and he ended up hanging himself from an oak tree in the forest. Very sad. Very, very sad.
Okay.
Since then, he's been said to ride through the forest with a pack of angry hounds on a mighty black horse, generally just tramming through the forest.
Where does this sound familiar?
Dun, dun, dun. The legend goes that if someone crosses his path during the hunt, they are then swept up in it and will be carried away and are cursed to join the hunt forever.
That's very dramatic.
It is very dramatic, isn't it? Like, you take a wrong turn and walk through the forest and all of a sudden you're cursed to join the wild hunt forever.
Yeah.
There's no real room for negotiation or anything there, is there? There's no, sorry mate, didn't really know you were here. Oh, well, I'm cursed now. Fantastic.
That's something that would happen to you.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. So, clearly seeing this Hearn fella is not a good thing to do, and I do not recommend it.
10 out of 10 would not recommend.
Why would 10 out of 10 not be recommend?
Because you wouldn't recommend it 10 out of 10.
That doesn't make any sense. Surely it should be 0 out of 10 would not recommend.
No, because, you wouldn't recommend it so much that it's 10 out of 10. Boom, bitch.
Good save. Hearn can be connected to the old Celtic god Seranus. Have I said that right? Seranus. I think I've said that right.
We're that guy.
Yeah. Woo! Seranus is an old Celtic god and the god of the forest, the animals and fertility. He's also said to be the one who helps the souls of the dead find their rest in the afterlife, which kind of makes sense that he's in the wild hunt somehow. Collecting the souls of the dead and etc, etc. Yeah. I'm sure he's probably got the souls of the not very nice dead on his wild hunt with him, and that kind of sounds like some kind of punishment to me. Or maybe it's not a punishment, and maybe it's the souls of the really good ones that are with him. I guess it depends on your outlook.
Glass half full or half empty,
it just depends on your sort of theological perspective of it, really.
If you're a nihilist, maybe there is none.
Well, if there's none, then why are we doing an episode about it?
Are we actually doing an episode?
Oh, no, stop. Stop it. Or I'm going to start talking about time travel and paradoxes. He's also tasked with being the master of the wild hunt, which is said to pursue the souls of evildoers. So it kind of depends on what you think. Is he roaming around collecting the souls of the murderers and the bad people, or is he accepting people to join him on his hunt? You don't know really, do you? It's one of the troubles with old legends like this, is that one version has one ending, one version has another ending, and you kind of have to mix the two.
Yeah.
To get a good idea of what they thought was happening.
Yeah.
So
if you remember at the start of the episodes, we said that it's possible that fairies are involved. Okay?
Yeah.
One particular piece of folklore comes from the River Wye.
Would you like to try that again?
Comes from the River Wye.
Spelled with a W.
In Hereford. In England, in UK, in Europe.
On planet Earth.
Yeah.
In the local group of the solar system.
So it was documented in Walter's Maps de Nugis Currici.
I'm pretty sure that is not how you pronounce that.
Well. Now. Walter Maps de Nugis
Curilium, maybe?
Curilium. A thing from 1190.
Very Latin, you might have guessed.
Yeah. So the story goes, one day, I love this fucking story.
Yeah.
I love this story.
It is a fantastic story.
The story goes that one day a dwarf king rode into King Herla's court and basically said to him that the king's wedding would be a lot better if the dwarf king would attend. So basically it's like, you'll make my wedding better, come on over.
Yeah.
So, he tried to strike a deal with King Herla that the dwarf king would attend Herla's wedding if Herla would attend his wedding a year later. The king thought, fuck it. Why not?
I am a king.
Yeah.
I will do what I want.
Yeah. The dwarf king showed up to his wedding and bought lavish gifts, and it was a fantastic party.
I bet it was.
And a year later, the Dwarf King showed up and reminded King Hurla about his end of the bargain.
Which is fair. I mean, he's made a promise. It has to be honoured. And
the entrance to the Dwarf's kingdom was through a crevice in a cliff. It was dark for a while, and then it was lit up brightly. So they walk in, and shit's dark as fuck. Think of, like...
Fantastic description there. Shit is dark AF.
So think of... What's that place in Lord of the Rings?
Khazad-dûm.
Yeah, think of that.
Yeah.
And they partied hard for 3 days.
As you would.
Yeah. I don't think I'd be able for that anymore.
No, I know. I can probably manage about 3 hours and then I'm in trouble. So I
would probably be deceased by hour 13. They partied hard for 3 days, and then when they were leaving, the dwarfs gave them gifts, one of which was a bloodhound. They were told to never dismount from their horses until after the bloodhound does of his own accord.
I mean, weird flex, but okay. Seems like a weird rule, doesn't it?
Yeah, pretty much. But on their way home, they stopped by a farmer where Hurla wanted to ask if there was any news on his wife, just to make sure she was all right. You know, he's being quite considerate.
Yeah, well, for the time, really.
You leave his wife and party for 3 days.
Go on a 3-day bender, and then he wants to know if his wife's okay.
The farmer replied that he had heard of a queen by this name who was married to a King Hurla 200 years ago. But King Hurla had disappeared into a cliff, never to be seen again.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yes. Shocked, King Hurla almost fell from his horse. Some of his comrades did actually fall from their horses, and they vanished into dust as soon as they hit the ground.
Wow. So they were being right about that bloodhound then. Do not get off your horse until...
Don't get off your horse. Yeah. And then they were cursed to wander the plains ceaselessly for all of eternity.
This is what happens when you go on a 3-day/200-year bender and don't tell anybody.
Yeah. I think I'd be alright with being deceased after hour 13.
Yeah. I'd probably just jump off the horse voluntarily, to be fair.
It is said that Hurla and his endless riding finally came to an end in the first year of the reign of Henry II. The last day the host was seen was one day in full daylight. The entire kind of procession was travelling basically like a living procession, basically. The local people were alarmed by their strangeness and silence and gathered up to attack them. But before they could actually attack them, they vanished on the banks of the River Wye.
I mean, it's more a reflection on the local people that they see something strange like that and their immediate thought is to grab a pike.
Not really, because you imagine that they'd be, if you saw a procession, there'd be some noise out of them.
I suppose that's true, yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And they might not have looked alive, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They might have physically looked alive, but when you look at their features and stuff, they look like...
There's bits missing.
You've been on a 200-year bender.
Did you start to show it?
Yeah.
Why am I doing the Welsh one? Why am I doing the Welsh one? You did this on purpose.
Yeah, beach.
Oh, no. Well, for this next one, Laura is quite a mean person. So, as you all know, I can't really do other languages that well. It's not something I'm particularly good at. My voice tends to butcher them because of my accent. So Laura thought it'd be hilarious for me to do the Welsh section of this. Now, I can't speak anything in Welsh. Just looking at the words makes me think that they just sneezed and headbutted a keyboard. It just doesn't make any bloody sense. So, here we are. This is a Wild Hunt tale from Wales. Thank you very much, Laura. This is the tale of Gwynapnud.
Nuth.
How is it Nuth? It's D. It ends in D.
Double D, which
Double D is still D.
You didn't live in Wales. You didn't speak the language.
Good. It doesn't make any sense. Right. Gwynapnud. That ends in D's.
Oh boy, I'm going to slap you.
It is said that Gwynapnud is the king of the Welsh underworld. He's described as a great
a great warrior.
See, this is what Welsh does to me. He's described as a great warrior with a blackened face. Are we allowed that now? Is this allowed? Is he blackfacing?
Don't draw attention to it.
Okay. So, in Welsh tradition, he's the leader of the Wild Hunt, and he leads a pack of supernatural hounds that are called the...
Cwnanawn.
Thank you, the Cwnanawn. Did I say that right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well done.
They're called the phenominon, and the pack is said to harvest human souls. So it kind of runs along the same vein as the other Wild Hunt folklore, really. Is that he's the guardian of the underworld, and they're riding along collecting the souls of the dead. It could be good souls, it could be bad souls. I guess it depends who you talk to.
Potato, potato.
Yeah, it's one of those things, isn't it? In Welsh folklore, to hear the sound of his hounds is to bring about the imminent death of someone in the family.
Where have we heard that before?
We've heard that in plenty of places before, especially the legend of the black dogs.
And the banshee.
And it goes on and on and on. It's all kind of links together.
Oh, yeah.
So, could you imagine a wild hunt with a banshee at the head of it? That is not okay.
I'd just kill myself.
This is Laura's painted approach to any kind of difficult situation. Zombie apocalypse, Laura.
Get you before it gets you, okay? Self-preservation!
Hey, how is killing yourself self-preservation?
Well, if you're going to die anyway, you may as well do it yourself.
Fuck's sake. There's a poem in the Black Book of... What is that? The Black Book of the Carmarthen?
Carmarthen?
Carmarthen? Yeah, okay, I'll take that one. The Black Book of the Carmarthen.
There's no the there.
No. Whatever. I'm rolling with it. This book describes his role in ferrying the dead. I have been where the soldiers of the Britain were slain. Thanks. From the east to the north, I am the escort of the grave. I have been where the soldiers of Britain were slain. From the east to the south, I am alive, they in death. Fucking Welsh.
Hey! That's not very nice.
So, he sounds like more of a ferryman to me. Like, more...
Like a Valkyrie?
Yeah. I kind of imagine him more as the Grim Reaper, actually. Like, the legend of the Grim Reaper. He sounds like that. He sounds like the one who comes for you when you're dead.
Yeah.
And, to see the Grim Reaper is probably a pretty bad omen anyway.
Not in Sims. Yeah, you can call them up.
Of course you can.
Yeah.
But, no, in like, kind of seriousness, the Grim Reaper is probably the personification of all of these legends together, in some form or the other. It's they've taken everything from it and made him into the Grim Reaper, the one who comes for people's souls.
Yeah.
So... That kind of sounds... He kind of sounds like the Welsh Grim Reaper.
Could be.
Or the Welsh version of the Grim Reaper.
Could be, yeah.
In early Christianity, in the medieval period, the wild hunt was still very much around. But in the Christian version, the hunt was especially evil. I mean, it's already pretty evil, but they made it that bit more evil just to... I mean, we've talked about how early Christianity used folklore as a tool more than anything before, so this is probably kind of another
like version. A scaremongering tool.
They've preyed on the original sort of folklore to keep the people more in line, I guess.
Yeah.
And this is probably another textbook example of that. It said that they were led by the devil himself and his band of fallen angels and hellhounds, and they would take the souls of sinners and the unbaptized and drag them off into the underworld. I mean, that to me sounds just like get baptized or this is going to happen to you.
Yeah.
So.
Not to alienate a religion at all, but they have a tendency to do that.
Yeah,
they have a tendency to twist stories, folklore, mythology to fit their agenda.
Yeah, and I mean, we're certainly not saying it's modern Christianity, it's early Christianity when it first started spreading across Europe.
And other religions have done it,
yeah.
But Christianity seems...
It's the one that pops up the most, isn't it?
Yeah.
When you look at these old sort of folklore tales, it's the one that's always turns it into the devil, to the hellhounds, dragged off, don't be a sinner, don't be unbaptized.
Yeah.
Cover that up, etc., etc.
Yeah.
So... Just our 2 cents, like we're
not alienating anyone.
No.
So you're probably kind of wondering where this all came from and was read about, the documentation on it and shit like that. The earliest documentation comes from an English monk in Normandy in 1091, who believed it to be a visualization of hell. I can't find the actual documentation. Probably. Yeah. It's probably in a museum or
it'll
something
be somewhere. Like these old monks sort of things, they were well preserved, but they're also very well looked after in places that are hard to get to.
Yeah.
It's probably in the Vatican.
Probably.
Or somewhere like that.
Maybe. Or in some little museum or library somewhere. Kind of sad because I'd kind of like to see it more than anything. Yeah, I'd like to see it,
but, you know.
There's another quote from the Anglo-Saxon Chronicle. It said that this happened in 1127. And if this sounds familiar, it's because we spoke about it in our second episode.
So, linking it all in, yo.
Let no one be surprised at what we were about to relate, for it was a common gossip up and down the countryside that after February 6th, many people both saw and heard a whole pack of huntsmen in full cry. They straddled black horses and black bucks while their hounds were pitch black with staring hideous eyes. This was seen in the very deer park of Peterborough town, and in all the woods stretching from that same spot as far as Stamford. All through the night, monks heard them sounding and winding their horns. Reliable witnesses who kept watch in the night declared that there might well have been 20 or even 30 of them in this wild tantivy as near as they could tell.
And if you remember, that is the exact same quote from our second episode when we were talking about the black dogs.
Yeah.
So they are linked. Somehow.
We'll come to our theories like a little bit more towards the end. So the term wild hunt was coined not by who you'd think.
Do go on.
It was coined and popularised by Jacob Grimm in Deutsche Mythology in 1835. Now, if you're wondering why that name sounds familiar...
We've mentioned him before.
And he is a children's book writer. Or children's story writer,
I
should say.
one of his many talents, I guess.
Yeah. So, take that as you will. He called it Wildjagd.
Which is the German for wild... It's old German for wild hunt, I guess.
Yeah. In his book, he analyses various pre-Christian folklores to come up with a broad idea of what the wild hunt is as we know it. He talks a lot about the god Woden, who has, in his words, quote, lost his sociable character, his near-familiar features, and assumed the aspect of a dark, dreadful power, a spectre and a devil.
Really, what he's doing is that what we're doing now.
Yeah.
Is he's looking at old folklores.
Telling their stories.
And
coming to his conclusions.
Yeah, he's sort of almost averaging them out.
Yeah.
To try and get like
generalising
a standard sort of conclusion for each sort of tale. And while it is good that he was doing that when he was, it leads to a lot of problems when you're looking at folklore now because you get a lot of documents referencing his work.
When it's just a generalised and very personal...
Yeah. And we're not saying that he's wrong by any stretch of the imagination because it's his interpretation of it, but it's not helpful when you're trying to find the original source of a lot of these things.
Yeah.
Because he does kind of get in the way a little bit.
Just a tad. Later, during his work on the wild hunt, so not initially, kind of later on, he kind of followed up with, quote, it marches as an army, it pretends the outbreak of war, end quote. So... he added that later.
You can probably add that later. And I mean, that sounds like it's been made to fit in with another old legend.
Yeah.
With the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse.
Which was my idea.
Which was your idea. So,
yeah, no,
go you.
We'll come to that a little bit later as well. He also believed that under Christianization, the story was changed from a solemn march of gods to being a pack of horrid spectres dashed with dark and devilish ingredients. So, from what he is saying, the Christians flipped it completely.
Yeah.
Rather than being a very godly and positive thing by the gods, that it was...
turned into something much more sinister.
Completely 180'd it. But it is worth noting his work was heavily criticised in the 20th century by folklorists.
And for exactly the reason what we said earlier, he's basically writing a story out of folklore.
Yeah, he's merging together various stories about wild hunts.
Yeah.
And not even wild hunts,
just general folklore stories.
Folklore stories that are very similar and forming his own Wild Hunt story.
Which is fine if you're a storyteller. It's absolutely fine. It's probably
He
quite
was
a good
a
idea.
storyteller.
But if it's trying to be passed off as actual research, it gets very, very complicated.
Yeah, which is why, if you kind of notice when we're talking about this, we've kind of named this episode The Wild Hunt because that's what is more commonly known as.
Yeah.
But when we're speaking of, like, you know, the singular stories, we don't say Wild Hunt.
No, we try and get as close to what we can find as the original source as possible. And the trouble is that a lot of these old folklores are so old and retold and sort of changed every retelling. Maybe every generation has its different version.
Yeah.
It kind of gets a little bit muddy.
Yeah. And, you know, I think it's worth noting the difference between them.
Yeah, definitely.
The difference between the Wild Hunt and the folklore.
Yeah.
Behind the Wild Hunt.
Yeah.
It's two completely different things.
Yeah.
So as we said earlier, like, you probably noticed that there is a lot of similarities here.
Yeah, there are. It's one of those kind of broad compassing folklores that kind of not covers everything, but there's an aspect of it everywhere.
Yeah. And like, the correlation we made was between the Black Dogs and the Four Horsemen.
Yeah, definitely. They're the ones that kind of jump out at us as being the similar kind of things. Like, if you were to see a black dog, maybe it is part of the Wild Hunt.
Yeah.
And the Four Horsemen, maybe they are the Wild Hunt.
Yeah.
So it's hard to tell. And I think Jacob Grimm had that idea as well when he's saying that it's the foreteller of war. He's probably comparing the Wild Hunt to the horseman that rides the war, it's called, or something, the horse that brings carnage and chaos.
It's war, famine, pestilence and death.
Yeah, so I mean, they all could be part of the Wild Hunt, like they're all the same kind of thing.
But I think even when you're talking about bad omens, war, famine, pestilence and death, they're probably
they're there.
They're fucking there. Like,
you can't get many more bad omens, really, can you?
No. But I think the fact that the Four Horsemen are obviously mounted.
Yeah.
To see them is not a good sign.
No, it is not.
Same with the Black Dogs.
Yeah,
to see them
exactly
is not a
the
good sign. But I think that's more like, it goes back to the root of folklore.
Yeah.
Seeing something as a bad omen.
Yeah.
Like the Banshee.
Yeah.
It's things like that. There's correlations between almost every piece of folklore.
It's almost like people are seeing things that maybe they don't understand at the time or can't explain, and they're scared of them. Obviously, as
like
you would
the
be.
boogeyman.
Yeah, it's the pre-Christian boogeyman, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, and they're thinking, well, fuck, I'm dead.
Yeah.
Like, and maybe that, and just because of the harshness of life back then, maybe they did die later that year.
Yeah.
But it could have been something so totally unrelated.
But I think this is a very generalization of folklore.
It is, yeah.
I think, you know, who we are and the way we think, there's got to be something behind these stories.
Yeah, there's maybe something. I mean, what strikes me is the similarity between all of them. If you look at all the sort of stories we told today, they all have maybe one or two things in common. It's it's riders, it's hunters, it's the souls of the dead being ferried away. And
dogs.
And you never know there's always, who is it that said there are more things in heaven and earth that are dreamt of by people? Or that's a paraphrase of the quote, but that's basically the quote, isn't it? There are more things around than we know.
Yeah.
So who are we to say that at some point these things did exist? Yeah. And they were rightly scared of them.
Yeah.
We just, maybe we just don't see them anymore.
I think it's ignorant to dismiss what you can't explain.
No, it isn't. You'd have to, it sounds all well and good now as a modern society looking back and say, oh, well, obviously they're full of shit. They were, I don't know, seeing thunder and things like that. But you think as someone in the 2nd or 3rd century seeing thunder, seeing lightning.
Thor, that's where the god Thor came out
seeing a comet, seeing shooting stars.
Yeah.
Things that now we take for granted.
Yeah.
And it, Earth, like minor earthquakes and things like that, all these things happen. They happen now, but we understand what they are.
But then again, it's like I said, it's just because we can't fully explain it, it doesn't mean it didn't happen.
No, of course it doesn't.
Or they didn't exist.
Yeah,
I think that's my line of thinking.
Yeah.
I can't dismiss something just because it sounds crazy.
Yeah, that's how, that's how thought should really happen. Just because you think it doesn't sound right, you should investigate it yourself.
Yeah, come to your own conclusions.
I mean,
we're waffling a bit here.
We are waffling, but that's why they like us. No, I go with the idea that they've all got, from different parts of the continent, they all have this same idea.
Yeah.
It's mounted men on horses.
Possibly with dogs.
Coming for your soul.
Yeah. And the Four Horsemen, again, is a more kind of Christian, apocalyptic.
But it all comes from different points in the continent that's probably never really engaged with each other before.
Yeah.
So that correlation alone should maybe think that there may be something to it.
Yeah. No, I agree, definitely.
So that's my sort of feeling on it anyway.
So maybe the Wild Hunt has some horsemen in it. Some Four Horsemen in it.
Yeah.
Maybe Christians took the pagan version of the Wild Hunt and created the Four Horsemen. Maybe the Black Dogs are part of the Wild Hunt.
Maybe when it all goes to shit, we are going to see the Wild Hunt marching through the wilderness.
I'll join it. I don't give a fuck. We're fucked anyway. May as well. Join it.
We just don't know, do we? It's one of the strangest things is old folklore. It has to come from somewhere.
Yeah, and that's kind of what we do, kind of digging in and hoping you can all make your own.
Yeah, make your own mind up, and then tell us what you think.
Yeah,
please and thanks.
Finn.
So thank you very much for listening again. We hope that it was worth waiting for.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
It has been a long time.
We're gonna stick to our every 2-week schedule now. Every Wednesday.
Yes, it was Wednesday.
Yeah,
wasn't
it's Wednesdays.
No, we've cutting back on the Patreon and stuff. We've managed to sort of fit things in a bit better.
And it's us closing the Patreon is not any reflection on you guys. Like, we are incredibly grateful.
Oh, we are, absolutely.
We're incredibly grateful for everything that we've received from you guys. Like, we were able to make a website, buy a new mic,
get us to a good quality for people to listen to, and we just don't feel like we've earned it the last couple of months. So we're gonna close it. We might put it back up in a couple of months when things are a bit more settled down. But I don't know, with the wedding coming up and everything. I don't know. Yeah,
and we're both working. I'm working twice as much. You're working crazy hours.
Yeah,
and I just don't want to promise you guys something
that we can't deliver on.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, as well, as much as we enjoy doing the podcast and it's felt great to get back behind the microphone again, we do have lives as well. We do have things that we need to do.
With the wedding, everything, because it's 9 months away now, where things are getting...
It's getting serious, it's getting real.
So, no, we appreciate, if you made it this far, we really appreciate you still listening to us, and to all our Patreons, we
thank you so much.
We're very grateful for everything that you've done, but we just feel like you deserve better.
So keep your hard-earned dollars for yourself. Buy yourself something nice. You bought us something nice, so buy yourself something nice. And people who should have had merch, it was all sent. So if it's not been received,
let us know.
Let us know, and we'll send it again.
Yeah, we'll sort all that out.
Yeah.
That's kind of everything.
Yeah, that's it really.
Yeah. So, if you want to find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, it's all at Spectral Asylum.
We will be posting more
and we have a Facebook group. If you want to join. Spectral Asylum inmates, and you just answer the question who we are.
Then you're in.
We're Craig and Laura, in case you don't know.
You probably would have gathered that by now, but just in case.
That's kind of it.
That's it, and just thank you very much, and we'll be back.
Thanks for everything, and thank you so much for being patient over the last few months.
Yeah, we are back.
We are back, and we really appreciate kind of everything that you've done for us. So hopefully us being able to focus now more on the main podcast and giving ourselves a bit of breathing room we'll make better content for you guys.
That's the aim. That's the goal.
So, cheers, guys.
Thanks.
Thanks, guys.
And with that, we will see you next episode.
We'll see you in 2 weeks.
Bye-bye now.
Bye.
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 Bye.